Okay, thank you once again for appearing. Chapter 13, we're getting near the end now. If you've got your act together on the personal level, if you've got your act together on the business level, if you've got your act together on the community level, then you've got a lot of good things happening, and you are probably finishing up just deciding how you're going to be self-fulfilled, how you're going to be a high performer, how you're going to contribute to the common good. But there's one more level that's actually built on the decisions that you made for all those places. Because it's when it comes together, your synergy, your personal synergy, your personhood, all comes together. You can feel it, you can hear it, you can see it, and other people can see it in you. And that's this area of societal systems development. And at that level, we're mostly talking about at least your state, maybe your country level, and how you're thinking about the wholeness of your experience as an American citizen, UK a citizen, or a citizen of other places of the world that you favor. This is where you're talking about the largest picture of you that you would see from the 10,000 mile view. You'd see your little self on the earth, and you're seeing yourself how you fit in with everybody else. And so let me just give you a little bit of an introduction to that, and then we'll get on with it. And it is social synthesis at the metacognitive level. And it consists of fully integrated reasoning and development across all four social systems of system domains, which responds to influences from the 6 American learnership universal knowledge spheres: social, political, economic, technological, geographical, and ecological. Social system development strives to capture the spirit of John Sullivan's To Come to Life More Fully, the 1990 book that he wrote, and suggests milestones for our timeless journey towards holistic personhood. The meta-level goal selected for the societal level is human enlightenment, and the key role to be played is statesmanship. Learning, knowing, and leading inform and activate social system development. Once again, it's our choice. The choice is whether we think that we are the kind of people who want to have influence at the statesmanship level. This is not for all people. There are some people who are naturally internationalist, and they will talk about socialism, communism, capitalism. They'll want to go out and debate other nations on what the best future of the world could possibly be. It's not for everybody. But certainly in our daily activities as we do our socioeconomic choice making, we have to know what they're doing, what they're saying, and where they're taking us. Sometimes we would agree with it, sometimes we won't, and sometimes through elections and voting, we have to make our feelings known so that people don't take us in a place they want us to go, but we don't want to go. We're over here now on chapter 13. We're finishing up the whole integral social system piece, and that'll set us up eventually to talk a little bit about what do we do when we become 50 and over, and we start to think about how to divide our lives between the before and the after. And we'll be doing that in one of our later sessions. But right now, let's move on and let's talk about the 3 major domains. We go back a little bit in time and we say we use the personal system, organizational system, and community system pretty much closer to the data that we had back when we were talking about the personal and the business. This area, which is to say is, am I pulling life together around me that includes something on the international or intergovernmental aspects of living? And by that, you might be involved in UNESCO or some UN agency where you're extending who you are through international body in order to have influence on the world at large. Or are you maybe involved in a company that is doing benefits and providing benefits, maybe non-governmental operations that are giving charitable monies to other countries? You can think of some of our billionaires who are involved in funding international projects. In any case, they're part of the community system development, and that community development is part of social system development. So it's all synchronous. It's just expanding the range of the thinking and activities that we are focused on. And we have a model for that. This model puts human enlightenment in the forefront and says that that's our goal. Now, I don't know that a lot of people see their life based upon whether they're contributing or participating in human enlightenment. But certainly a major subset of people do this. A lot of people who have a philosophical way of thinking about their life experiences think about what is the purpose of life, not only life where I live, but life where other people live and life on this planet. So it has to do with the idea of how do peoples, cultures come together. And it's fed by what do people think about themselves and how they're trying to achieve what they want, the common good and high performance together. And when you get out in that range, it becomes political. People are influenced by the politics, the economic factors involved, what we're doing to the economy, the technology impacts, social relationships, the geographical distribution of people and religions and family traditions. And when you're up there, all of a sudden global warming becomes something that you want to talk about. You get concerned when you see those all those ice flows that are breaking up and coming down in the ocean. You're saying, where's that coming from and why is that happening? And if everything's melting, what's the water level going to be for all of us, not only those of us who live along the shore? And if you're thinking about the Amazon, you're talking about rainforest destruction. And certainly illegal drugs. We have right in the United States a rash of illegal drugs being used, and it's something that we can never seem to solve this particular problem, but it's an international problem because most of that stuff's not made here. It's coming through the borders. International terrorism, illegal immigration, political corruption. So what we have is there's a whole life going on outside of our individual control. And some people would say, I can't fix that. I can't do anything about that. I'm not even involved in that. Let the world go on without me. The problem of it is, for some people, the world is going on without them, but it needs them. There are people who have knowledge that could be helpful if somebody would invite them. And sometimes, if you really want it, I have a friend who's got multiple degrees and decided to go on working on diplomacy as an advanced degree because she's interested in having some influence at the next level up, and she's never had the opportunity to work where her voice could be in play on things that have an international scope. So there are people who want to be involved. Maybe some people want to talk to the Japanese a little bit more about are they going to leave any seafood in the ocean left for anybody else? You know, so there's a world out there that needs inputs, and we may need to think about it ourselves and where we fit. Just to show you, this is not something to be discussed in detail, obviously, but it is to show you the kinds of factors that are impacting American international relations and national development. There happen to be 18 different items on this chart that would have to be considered if we were trying to select amongst scenario A, B, and C to improve the American leadership on the international platform of human enlightenment. In other words, what would we do as a nation if we wanted to be more secure, more influential, and have a more helping hand to other people? We could take care of ourselves. U.S. debt reduction through currency adjustments. We could raise prices on imports and lower prices on exports. You know, we have a $19 trillion deficit. You know, we probably could fix it just by charging everybody more to sell here and lower our prices to sell there. How do you think the other nations would take to that? We'd have a race to the bottom, wouldn't we? Everybody would be lowering their prices. You'd have people working for $1 a day or less in some of the impoverished places of the world. Another approach is that U.S. reestablish its leadership in energy development and innovation, makes investments in alternative energy, and it reduces its fossil fuel consumption, which is to say we improve our own efficiency of meeting our own needs, which allows us to be more efficient in the costing of our products that we sell without necessarily getting enmity building against us because of what we're doing. You can't be hurt by what you do for yourself. It's only what you do that affects somebody else. Another view is we just reduce our national debt and establish a progressive tax system. We reduce social expenditures and restrictions on financial industry opportunities. In other words, we simply clamp down on everybody we think is part of the problem. So we legislate and officiate everything, and the feeling is that that is so restrictive that it really damages our own economy in trying to compete worldwide, and it'll come back to hurt us. It'll hurt us in our stock market and so forth. So we have choices. We have choices based upon what people want to do. But people need to have their say, and they need to know that you're working in a world where there's imbalance for a lot of reasons. Different worldviews, different perspectives on what human progress means. Employment opportunity, is that important? Social mobility, multinational firms. What happened if all of the U.S. multinational firms decided to go to Ireland? It's happening right now, and what happens is you transfer the company's ownership to another nation and you pay the tax rate of the other nation. So you have American companies deciding they don't want to pay American taxes where they were born and they grew. They go to another country and sell out to somebody else and basically then sell their products back to us. Well, would we buy their products if they did that to us? What would be the retaliation if an American company decided to take advantage for their own benefit of the American people? So there are issues on the international level, on the human being to human being, on the business to business, on the socioeconomic level that are in play all the time in our daily lives. And those, even though it's not our focus, are still impacting us just as much as what goes on in our community or our business or in our personal lives. So we just need to know that that's important. It's one of the things that we do discuss at the SSD or the social systems development arena. One final thing, if you want to make change, if you want to make change happen, let's say you have a country that has these problems. You might recognize that country. It has its national debt going up, its consumer debt going up, the offshoring is going up, consumer purchasing is going down, middle class wages are going down, and home buying is going down. And the politicians and everybody who has some responsibility for this all have reasons why it's somebody else's problem. This is a major, major, major system. How do you manage the United States? Because we have all these problems, and all you have to do is read the Washington Post every day, and you'll see there are different economists and social scientists recommending what needs to be done, and it's none of all those things simultaneously, because they all have the short answer. The goal would be that if that's the past we're dealing with, in the present, we would have to get policies that start to flatten out these curves, flatten them out, so that things can be rebalanced a bit. And then, as time goes on, you could start to maybe make some favorable movements to bring the things down that need to go down and the things up that need to go up through an economic policy and a socio-economic approach to other people in other countries in a way that we could have what we want and what we would like to get without harming somebody else. But it needs to be somewhat seen as a win-win situation. So that's about all we have for that. But the question I have for you, it's also a question for myself. What piece of my life should be dedicated to knowing about, working on, or contributing towards thought processes that lead to improvement in these areas? Maybe I should just write a letter to the editor every day. Be that kind of person that gets involved in all the letters to the editor and get in thought battles with some of the perennial writers of articles to the newspaper. But we all have to decide where we fit. I would suggest that a little bit of everybody fits in a little bit of all of this, that a holistic, inclusive, even temperament approach to things is a good, non-stressful way to be. But you never want to see that the sky is falling, because if you really looked around, just about everything is falling unless you can find out how to fix it. And a lot of people are hurting. And the human personhood says, grow to be as good as you can be. And we'll end that session, or this session, on that topic. See you next time. And what would you do now that you know these things?